All right, I think we're all set to get started.
Sure.
Dennis, take it away.
Yeah, awesome. Let's get started. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today's session is called the CanadaHelps Foundations webinar. My name is Dennis Romanov. I'm the digital specialist on the charity success team here at CanadaHelps, and you'll be stuck here with me for the next hour or so. All right, first of all, I do want to acknowledge that our team at CanadaHelps is grateful to have the opportunity to meet and work on many Indigenous homelands across this land that we share, that we call Canada. As settlers on these lands, it is important to acknowledge that our Vancouver offices are located on the unceded territory of the Coast Salish people. The Montreal offices are located on Kanien'kehá:ka territory, and the land on which we operate in Toronto is the traditional territory of the Wendat, the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. We want to express our respect for the territories that we reside in and honor the diverse Indigenous people who have lived and worked on this land historically and presently. We, the staff and leadership at CanadaHelps, are committed to being active participants in reconciliation. We're committed to continuing to amplify Indigenous voices and learning how our work affects Indigenous people. If you're new to CanadaHelps, I'm just going to remind you what it is that we do. CanadaHelps is a charitable foundation increasing giving in Canada through technology. For Canadians, CanadaHelps.org provides a trusted one-stop destination for making donations, fundraising, or learning about any charity in Canada. For Canadian 86,000 charities, we develop affordable fundraising technology and provide free training and education for charities, just like this webinar, so that all charities have the capacity to increase their impact and succeed in the digital age. Since 2000, more than 3.5 million Canadians have donated over 2.3 billion Canadian dollars to charities using CanadaHelps. And before we start, just a couple of homekeeping moments. If you have any questions or technical difficulties during the webinar, please type them into the questions log at any time. At the end of the webinar, we'll leave about 10 minutes to go through some of the submitted questions. I'll try to answer as many as possible, but if I don't get a chance to address any of the questions, we'll make sure to get back to you with an answer over email. Here's a couple of words about me. My name is Dennis Romanov. I've joined CanadaHelps in 2018, and since then had the privilege of working with charities of different sizes and different missions all across the sector. I believe that with the right tools and approach, every charity can advance and succeed in the digital age, and it's my goal to help you do so by using CanadaHelps fundraising tools. For today's session, we selected 4 topics that cover the basics of online fundraising, and I'm going to talk about how they find application in your CanadaHelps charity account. First, we'll start by talking about data, specifically how you can use CanadaHelps Donor Insights to analyze your donation trends. Next, we'll move on to the topic of engaging with your donors and talk about sending personalized thank you messages to your donors using your CanadaHelps charity account. We'll also talk about the importance of monthly giving and some exciting updates to our monthly gift management tool. And finally, we'll talk about best practices for embedding a donation form on your website and how you can easily create a donation form using your CanadaHelps charity account. Okay, so let's start by talking about data. In this age of data, we shouldn't underestimate how important data is to businesses. And of course, the charitable sector is not an exception. So why is analyzing your data is important? Well, first of all, analyzing data helps you understand your donors better, and as a result, better engage with them and retain them. Secondly, optimizing your fundraising. Looking back at years worth of data and seeing which fundraising efforts worked and which ones didn't. Why? Third, budgeting. Forecasting based on your historical data. And 4, improving digital marketing strategies by analyzing the data from your marketing sources. When CanadaHelps processes online donations for your charity, all the data that we collect is saved in the donation reports section of your CanadaHelps charity account. In the slides, you can see a snippet of how that part of your charity account looks. And just to refresh your memory on the sections that are available here in the blue bar, just below the main menu, donations is where you can find the summary of your most recent donations, search for any gift within the last 5 years, and download your disbursement reports. The next option here, data download, allows you to export the details of every donation for a given period. The custom data download option allows you to create a custom report, including only the desired fields, for example, for accounting purposes. And the donor insights, which is highlighted here, provide donor and revenue metrics against sector benchmarks to help you make strategic decisions for your charity. The monthly gift section, which you can see right in the middle of that menu, we're going to talk about in just a little bit. And the giving season reports is an exciting new feature. I also highly recommend to check it out. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to go into too much detail today. So yeah, let's just jump right in and see how you can use donor insights in your charity accounts. To access your donor insights, log into your CanadaHelps charity account, just like you always do. Go to donation reports from your main menu and then navigate to donor insights. This is how the page is going to look for you. There are two options here. You can either click on the blue button to view your donor insights online, or to download the insight reports as a CSV file for the past 24 months of your data. All right, let's go ahead and pretend like we're clicking on the View Donor Insights button just right here. So this is how it's going to look for you when you open up the page. Don't mind the numbers here. It's going to be different for any charity depending on your donation history with CanadaHelps. I know there is a lot of numbers here, right? But it's actually not as daunting as it seems. It's actually pretty straightforward. So there are 3 sections on this page. The first one, right over here, compares your performance for the same month year over year. In this example right here, we're comparing February 2025 versus February 2024. The second section here compares your performance for the same month. Month over month. In this example, we're looking at February 2025 versus January 2025. And then finally, if you were to scroll down further on that page, you would see the third table, which compares your current calendar year to date versus your previous calendar year for the exact same period. Now, what are the numbers we're looking at here? We've got new donors, we've got repeat donors, we've got total donors. So the number of new donors is the number of brand new donors that you acquired. This means that CanadaHelps doesn't have a single donation for that donor until today. The repeat donors are the donors that may have made more than one donation over your lifetime with CanadaHelps. It could have been 10 years ago, it could have been last week. And the total donors, the third column over here, simply sums up the details in the first 2 columns. So how can we find application for these numbers? Well, obviously you can calculate your donor retention rate pretty easily based on the numbers. Just to remind you, the donor retention rate formula is the number of repeat donors this year divided by the total number of donors last year multiplied by 100. That's how you get to a percentage to calculate what's your donor retention rate, which means how many donors actually come back to make a donation for your charity again. just go to the second tab available in our report here, which is the sector benchmarks. Again, don't mind the percentages available here. The sector benchmarks allows you to compare your charity against the benchmarks of other charities in Canada across the sector on average. Again, the data is divided by the average for new donors, the average for repeat donors, and the average for total donors. We do acknowledge that charities come in different sizes. You know, the fundraising could vary greatly from charity to charity. So take this with a grain of salt, of course, but I hope this is going to be insightful for you to understand where your charity stands next to the other charities in a similar category in Canada. All right, let's move to the next section, engaging with your donors. So I'm sure we all understand the value of acknowledging charitable donations. Saying thank you to donors promotes loyalty and has a positive impact on donor retention, especially for new and long-standing monthly donors. By saying thank you, you as a charity are also building an emotional connection with your donors. And finally, you're increasing the likelihood of a future donation. According to the study done by the Association of Fundraising Professionals Fundraising Effectiveness Project, the average donor retention rate is around 44%. According to other sources, it varies between 40 and 50%, but numbers are pretty much the same. So what does this tell us? This says that 56% of donors don't make a second donation to your charity or to any other charity. That's a lot of donors which are basically lost. So thanking your donors is an easy, but it is a meaningful step towards higher donor retention. There are two ways to thank your donors through CanadaHelps. The first way is to set up an automated thank you message that will be sent to all of your donors who make a gift through your donation form. This is a set and forget. You create a donation form, you put it on your website, you make a nice automated thank you message for it, and everybody who makes a donation through your form on your website will get an automated thank you message instantly after they make a donation. We're going to talk about that option in just a second when we touch on the customizable donation forms. And the second option that we have available for you is sending personalized thank you messages in the donation sections of your account. So let's take a look at the second option here. In your CanadaHelps account, again, when you sign in, you'll navigate to donation reports, and under the donations section, you should see something like this. The donation summary, further down on the page, is where you're able to acknowledge donations and send thank yous to your donors by using the envelope icon on the right-hand side of the page. Now, if you see a plain icon just like this, that means that the donor has not left any message with their donation. If you see a little number 1 in the corner there, that means that the donor actually left a message. Maybe it has to do with the designation of their gift. Maybe they just want to say some kind words to you. Whatever it is, you definitely want to check it out. So when you see the number 1, click on that button. And the next thing you're going to see is the pop-up that will contain the message from the donor. And that's also where you can send a thank you message back to them. So this is how it's gonna look for you. I can confirm the details who I'm sending the thank you message to. You will be sending this email directly through CanadaHelps servers. So no need to connect it to your inbox or email agent or anything like that. I'm just gonna pop in your name or the name of the admin in here. Enter the reply to email address. As you can see, I've used my email, and I also VCC'd my colleague Tamara over here to send her a copy of that thank you note. in the subject line, I'm just going to put thank you for your donation, Samart. And in the message, I'm going to say, dear Smart, thank you so much for your generous donation, so on and so forth. When I click send this message, Samart will receive a personalized thank you from me directly into his inbox. And the envelope icon over here is going to turn to green, indicating that you've already sent a message to the donor. This is how it's going to look. If you'd like to remind yourself what the message was, you can always click on that icon again. It's just going to appear as a pop-up for you to read what you sent to the donor. All right. Okay, let's move on to part 3, monthly giving. When we were talking about thanking donors, we're also talking about stewarding donors. The updates that we made to our monthly gift management tool are actually the updates to how you, as a charity, can better steward your donors when it comes to helping out your donors with their monthly gifts through CanadaHelps. Let's start by reminding ourselves really quickly why monthly gifts are crucial. So first of all, they're obviously a source of predictable income for charities. Turns out it costs 10 times more to acquire new donors than it does to retain existing ones. So monthly donors, once acquired, provide ongoing support without requiring repeated fundraising efforts. Monthly giving also fosters deep engagement, turning your casual donors, maybe that make donations once in a while, into long-term supporters who feel more connected to your cause. So CanadaHelps is designed to be a self-serve platform, both for charities and for donors alike. Donors can manage all of their gifts directly in their CanadaHelps donor account. However, we understand that donors sometimes may need a bit extra help, which is why we introduced some new features last year to help you manage your monthly gifts more efficiently. So now, if a donor reaches out with a request to update their monthly gift, you can do the following. You can update their monthly gift settings in just seconds, enhancing the end-to-end donor experience. You can instantly sort, search, and access all of the monthly gifts to your organization from one convenient page, streamlining your admin tasks for greater ease and efficiency. You can also cancel, pause, and resume monthly gifts in a few clicks, providing donors with flexible options that cater to their giving preferences. And finally, if a donor pauses their gift, you can automate your email reminders to remind them to consider continuing their gift, as well as adjust their gift schedule. So let's just hop over into a test instance of your CanadaHelps charity account. Just give me 1 second here. All right, perfect. So to navigate to our monthly gift section, we're going to go to our donation reports and then hit monthly gifts. So the monthly gifts is where all of your gifts live, just like I mentioned before. And here at CanadaHelps, we divide monthly gifts into active, paused, or expired. You can find the search bar over here, where you can type in the name of the donor, the first or the last name, to find the corresponding donation. You can also filter your monthly gifts by the starting name. Obviously, you can export all of your monthly gifts into a CSV file if you'd like to work with that data in Excel further on. And if we click into the monthly gift, in this case of Rick Sanchez, $100 a month, this is how we can update any information on the monthly gift of this donor. So what's the direct application? Again, like I mentioned, Donors have full access to their monthly gifts in their CanadaHelps donor account. They can sign in, they can change the amounts, the processing date, the fund, and anything else related to their gift. They can also pause or cancel it. But sometimes the donor may reach out to you if they prefer to get some help over the phone, right? If you receive a call from the donor and they're asking you to pause their donation, you navigate to their gift, you hit pause, that's it. Let's just go ahead and do that. This works for me. There we go. Whenever I need to, I can go back and resume my monthly donation again. And if I'd like to gently remind my monthly donor to consider resuming their monthly gift, I can also send them a reminder every 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days. I can also totally opt out from any email reminders if I don't want to bother my donor. On this page, you can obviously update the fund designation for the monthly gift, and you can update the processing date for the gifts, again, according to the donor's wishes. Finally, if a donor reaches out asking you to set up an ending date for their donation, perhaps they want to end it by the end of the year, you can use this option here and either enter the number of remaining donations or enter the ending date. As you can see, it's pretty easy. And again, it's supposed to serve your donors and you guys to help you manage your monthly donations more efficiently. Let's just go back here. All right, perfect. As you can see, the donation that we paused is now added into the pause list. I'm just going to go ahead and click here. And this is how it looks. You can always just go back and conveniently take a look at the paused gifts, maybe reach out to the donors, ask them to consider continuing their gift. All right, let me go back into my presentation again. Great. By the way, I'm mentioning a lot of things while I'm talking. Don't worry, you will all receive the slides after the call. The slides will look exactly the same. They will also contain all of the links necessary for you to go and check out some more information related to all of the topics that I'm covering today. We have a great amount of resources available on our website in the For Charities section. So you can go there at any time, take a look at the previous webinars that we've hosted, download the detailed white papers and guides on how to use any of our tools. And we also have a range of courses dedicated specifically to using our fundraising tools, customizable donation forms, ticketed events, peer-to-peer fundraising tool, and your charity profile on CanadaHelps.org. All right. The final topic for my talk today is optimizing your website for online donations. If I were to pick one of my favorite topics, this would be it. Customizable donation forms is absolutely an essential if you're a charity in the digital age, which all of you guys are. So why is it important to have a donation form embedded on your websites? And by embedded, I mean that the donation form is lives directly on your website and that you're not taking your donors away to a third-party website or any other page. So first of all, the custom branding and messaging. Your donation form can be tailored with your branding, which means logo and colors, impact story, and an automated branded thank you message. If you remember a few slides back, I was talking about the 2 ways you can thank donors through CanadaHelps. Well, this is what I was talking about as option 1. An automated branded thank you message is what you set up for your donation form, and all of the donors that make a donation on your website will receive one instantly after they make their gift. Trust and credibility. Donors are more likely to give when they see a professional, secure, and branded donation form directly on your website, rather than being redirected to an external page. CanadaHelps donation forms are secure. I've heard questions from charities over the years asking me, my website is not secure. Is it okay for me to process CanadaHelps donations on it? Yes, absolutely. The embedded form that we provide to you is secure in and of itself. 3, increasing conversion. If donors have to leave your website to complete a donation, they might get distracted or hesitate. A seamless on-site donation form keeps donors engaged and improves conversion rates. And also, donors will remain on your website after their donation is completed, which means they can go ahead and check your mission, your campaigns, your newsletter, whatever else you have on your website. And finally, the Ways to Give page. The Ways to Give page is generally considered to be a number of different options available for donors to make a donation on your website. So that's one-time gifts, monthly gifts, tribute donations, donations of securities. Some charities choose to create a separate donation form for each of their funds to make it super easy for their donors to select where they're contributing to your work. And now I'd like to talk about some of the best practices for using donation forms. So simply creating a donation form and putting it up on your website, unfortunately, is not enough. It is better than nothing, obviously, but when you put the donation form on your site, you need to consider sort of the behavior of users on your website, perhaps even the psychology of donors a little bit. So number one, most important thing is having the donate button in the top right corner of your website at all times. Normally, this could be achieved by having the permanent menu on your website. And I've also seen charities do it by using a permanent hovering button, which can kind of move along the page, just depending where the donor is going. Also, please make sure to have the donate button on all of the pages that have information about your programs or campaigns, and make sure to include a relevant donation link. Like I was talking just a second ago, you have unlimited access to CanadaHelps donation forms. This means that you can really use them in the way that works best for your programs and campaigns. You can create a donation form and put it on the page of a specific program that you're running, right? It doesn't have to be all on one page with a really long list of funds and campaigns. It could be organized neatly to suit your best, to suit your websites in the best way. Best practice number 2. Well, this is what I was just talking about, but here's a good example. This is the Calgary Food Bank's website. Feel free to go and check it out. It's a really nicely organized website. It's clean, it's looking fresh, and it's very easy for donors to navigate. So here's an example of how a Ways to Give page could look. This is the point I wanted to make. Charities with at least 2 active donation forms turn out to earn 2.5 times more revenue annually than charities with just 1 active form. So make it easy for your donors, make it easy for yourselves, set up multiple donation forms and put them on your website. As you can see over here, Calgary Food Bank's website doesn't only include options to donate online, they also have the option to donate a car, volunteer, reach out. So think of it as the different ways to get your donors involved, other than just making an online donation, obviously. All right, and the third best practice, something we've already talked about today, is monthly donations. Encourage monthly donations through your donation forms. The CanadaHelps donation forms available to you are very flexible. you can set up the monthly donation option to be the default on your donation page, kind of like you see right over here. And you can also set up the custom preset amounts to make it easier for the donor to choose from a range of amounts without having to think too hard. As you can see in this example, the preset amounts range from $25 a month all the way to $100. So again, you can make it really flexible for the donor and yourselves. Now, just let me switch over to our CanadaHelps account again, and I'm going to show you how you can easily set up a donation form in literally minutes. All right. So previously we were just on the donation report section of our account. Now let's navigate to donation forms. Okay, here's the form that I created just before the webinar, main form for my website. I just did it by clicking create new form, and then I typed in my form name. When I'm creating the form, I have an option to select one of the available form types. We have a full form, a multi-step, attribute first, as the form is available for credit card or PayPal donations, and also the securities donation form if you're accepting gifts of stocks and shares from your donors. If you would like to learn which type of form works best for you, in the slides for this webinar, at the very end, I'll attach a little article we did about how to select the best type of form that works for your website. It will go into detail about how they differ. Sometimes the functionality differs a little bit, and you can really decide what works best and what looks best on your website. I'm just going to go ahead and choose the full form and hit save. Now it opens up a number of additional editing options for me. So there are two sections available here, the form setup and the form branding. The form branding touches on the color and the styling of your donation form. If you go over here, you're able to change the colors to fit them with your website. You can set the icon for the monthly donation option, and so on. You can customize your own branded e-cards, which means that if a donor makes a tribute gift in honor or in memory of someone using your donation form, they can choose one of your images that you selected for your donation form. Let me go back to the form setup and touch on something we talked about before, which is the thank you email messages. I'm sure a lot of people here wanted to learn how to do that. So it's super simple. You just navigate to thank you email message, and you get the preview of how a default thank you message looks. If you'd like to change that, you can simply start typing, and here it is. You can see it live, how the thank you message updates, and you can do the automated thank you message both for English and French. Our donation forms are bilingual. You don't have to if you're embedding only the English version of the donation form on your website. It's completely up to you. You can just leave the English or the French version, and you can set up a different automated thank you email for your monthly donations. So the phrasing could be a little bit different. You could do some basic styling in here, have a link included, use one of the formats available here, do bold, italics, underscore, whatever you need to make the message look nice. The confirmation email or the thank you message will have your logo and your VN number on it. So that's just another benefit to having these set up. Again, I kind of ran through this really quickly. If you'd like to learn more about setting up your thank you email messages, I will put a link in the useful resources slide for you to go to our knowledge base and actually go through the steps of setting up a thank you message for your donation form. There are a number of other options available on here. I'm just going to go through them really quickly. Remember how I was talking about the donation preset amounts? That's how we do it. There's the option to do smart sums. Smart sums is an algorithm which analyzes your average donation amounts and suggests a number of different donation options suitable for your organization. Or you can also do the custom amounts and create up to 3 amount presets for your donors to choose from. So let me just give you a quick example here. The preset amounts are especially useful if you would like to explain to the donors what's the tangible impact of their donation. As you can see just below, you can enter what this amount level provides based on your program, right? So if you're a food bank, you can explain what $10 gets what kind of difference, what kind of impact $10 makes for your charity. Maybe it helps you feed a person for 1 day or something like that. All right. For the donor options, the customizable donation form offers you some flexibility when it comes to collecting some additional information from your donors. You could ask them custom questions. You can disable the option to remain anonymous. You can allow donors to cover the fees of their donation associated with the gift, so that the whole amount of the donation actually reaches your charity without any payment processing fees. You can also ask donors to join your mailing list and ask them for their phone number. So a lot of options available over here. Unfortunately, because of time constraints, I can't really go into the details of every single thing. But again, you will find this information available on the CanadaHelps course on donation forms, as well as on our knowledge base. Right. Now the question that you all are probably asking is, how the hell do I put this on my website? Well, very easily. So once we create the form, it lives under the active forms on our charity account. And on the right-hand side of the page, where you see this icon, that's actually the embed code for our website. When we click on it, the embed code is automatically copied to your clipboard, and you can go into the code of your website and just pop it in there. Really depends on which platform you're running your website, but generally speaking, embedding a donation form on your website is super easy. If you have any questions, please do reach out to us. We're always happy to help if we can. We have some guidance on how to embed donation forms on websites like Wix and Squarespace. So if you have any questions, please do reach out to us at info@CanadaHelps.org. We should be able to help. If you find that embedding is way too complicated for you, you can also use the linked form URL. As you can see here, it's just a regular URL that you can hyperlink to a button on your website. The form itself will look pretty much the same. It will just save you the trouble of going into the code of your website and figuring out how to embed a donation form. So you've got 2 options over here, both simple, one simpler than the other. But again, reach out to us if you find any difficulties. If you'd like to preview your donation form, simply click on the eye icon, and you're gonna see how it looks Let me actually go ahead and see if I can do that. I think it's just my presentation that's not letting me do it. 1 second here. Okay. There it is. Okay, perfect. So this is how the donation form would look if you simply linked it to a button on your website. Pretty neat, right? All right. Okay, I'm going to be wrapping up soon, but before I finish, I would like to leave you with some key takeaways and an action plan that could help your charity succeed this year. So first of all, let's recap. CanadaHelps Donor Insights provide you with an overview of fundraising efforts, with an overview of your fundraising efforts through CanadaHelps. So after the webinar, when you have time, go ahead into your charity account and explore this section to compare your fundraising year over year or month over month. If you see a decline in revenue or donors, you may also explore further by downloading a detailed report in the data download section of your account. 2, engaging with donors and acknowledging their gifts is key to building loyalty and trust. Again, this goes back to our thank you tool. So if you're not using the thank you tool already, please go into your account, click around, see how it works for you. Don't forget, if you're using a donation form, please set up an automatic thank you message. And finally, regularly check for any donations that haven't been acknowledged already. Number 3, your CanadaHelps charity account has all of the necessary tools to seamlessly manage your monthly gifts. Review your existing monthly gifts and the new features that When a donor reaches out to make any changes to their monthly gifts, you now know how to help them. If you are planning to acquire some new monthly donors this year, in the useful resources section of this slide deck, I'll link the detailed guide to growing your monthly donors. It's an awesome resource if you're starting from scratch or if you're looking to develop some new monthly donors this year. And then finally, the customizable donation forms. Like I said before, the donation forms is the best way to optimize online giving on your website. It's also personally my favorite tool that we have here at CanadaHelps. So if you do embed it, if you do put it on your website, make sure to follow the best practices that I outlined before. Also consider creating a ways to give page to provide more giving options to your donors. Again, the one-time option, the monthly gift, tribute donations, securities, anything else that you need, any campaign, any program, you can have a separate donation form for each of those neatly organized on your website. And I feel like I've mentioned this a bunch of times today already. Check out our course on customizable donation forms. It's going to guide you step by step exactly how to set up a nice looking page, how to make it effective, and how to put it on your website. All right, here's the useful resources I was talking about. After the webinar, I'll put a couple more links on here as well, and you will receive the slides to your email shortly. We're at 1:45. Let's jump into the Q&A. Let's see how many questions we got. And again, if I don't get a chance to get to all of those live, we'll follow up with you and make sure that your question gets an answer.
All right. All right. Thank you, Dennis. That was a lot of great info. Hopefully all of you here today, you're walking away with a better idea of how CanadaHelps can support your fundraising, whether you're looking to grow your donor base, use our fundraising tools, or just in general making things easier. Your charity account really has a lot of great options. Thank you, Dennis, for the wonderful presentation. We got a couple questions here. The first one is a common question we get. In general, what are the benefits of using the donation form versus actually linking to a CanadaHelps charity profile? So there seems to be some confusion around those two.
Absolutely, that's a great question, and we hear it a lot. So happy you asked that. Your charity profile page is your page on CanadaHelps.org, right? So a lot of our donors use CanadaHelps.org as a portal to find charities, of course, to make donations to more than one charity at a time, and it's designed with that in mind. So it's designed as a page on the CanadaHelps.org portal. The reason why we have donation forms is to allow you the experience of having an embedded form directly on your website. It is a little bit different from the charity profile in terms of the functionalities. Some of the things that I showed you during the presentation, like disabling the anonymity option, asking a custom question, collecting the phone number, asking the donors if they'd like to be on the mailing list. Those kinds of features are only available on donation forms to allow, again, for more flexibility for you and your donors when they're making a donation on your website. Both are great. My personal recommendation is keep both of them updated, but your charity profile is there to live on CanadaHelps.org portal, and your donation form is designed to be there on your website. I hope this answers the question. Thank you so much for the question again.
That's great. That's great. I think what you touched on there, it's a good segue into some of the other questions here. There are more product related questions. And so just, yeah, feel free if you want me to take over for these two. But one person asking, when someone's making a donation, are we allowed to send them a newsletter, emails? How do they consent to the communications? Is there a way, like, how do we get that? How do we enable that on our donation forms, for example?
Perfect. Yeah, that's a great question. Again, that is something. So there are two types of consent that you could receive from donors in Canada. There is implicit consent and explicit consent on your email communications with the donors. There are some subtleties in terms of the difference between the two. Essentially, when a donor makes a donation to your organization, Nobru, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they're providing the implicit consent to be contacted by your charity for up to 2 years when it comes to their donation or fundraising initiatives. The explicit consent that you could collect from donors explicitly, like it implies, means that there is a checkbox either on your donation form, or there's a contact form on your website which the donors sign up to, and that allows for you to contact your donors with newsletters for an indefinite period of time until your donor unsubscribes or reaches out to you to cancel receiving communications from you. So so two types of consent. I would recommend checking with CASL, the Canadian anti-spam legislation, for more details on the best practices of communicating with your donors, and also I believe that the Canadian Revenue Agency has a detailed guide for charities on how to communicate with donors as well.
Great, great. Would you be able to show everyone how they can enable that checkbox in the donation form?
Absolutely, sure. Let me just go back real quick. Okay. Just 1 second. Okay, here we go. Okay. So when we're back on our donation forms page, to edit the form, we'll click on the pencil icon. And we'll navigate under the form setup. We'll navigate to donor options here. So this checkbox right here, ask donors to join your mailing list, is the explicit ask of the donor to join your communications. You will see CanadaHelps here because I'm using it on the I'm showing you the test instance. This will change to the name of your charity, obviously. So yeah, the donor will have to select this to be considered to have given you the explicit consent to be communicated with. So here's just some information in the pop-up for the donor. And again, when you make any changes to your donation form, please don't forget to hit save to make sure that the changes reflect on your website. And just one thing that I would add, once you embed the donation form on your website, you actually don't need to change the embed code or the link every time you make any changes to your donation form. Every change that you do here will immediately reflect on your website as well. All right, so no need to do the double work.
Nice, thank you. While we're on the customizable donation forms editor here, another person was wondering, how can we place replace the logo on our form? Do you mind showing them how to do that for both link and embed by going into the link and embed options in the branding section there?
Absolutely, yeah. Perhaps I should
I'm putting
explain.
you on the spot, so you might not have a picture ready. So apologize for that. But you do have a picture ready.
It's all good. It's all good, Nabru. First of all, I'll explain what the difference is between the linked and embedded version. Do you remember how I was talking about using the URL link for your donation form versus the HTML code? The URL link refers to the linked version of your donation form, and the embed, when you're using the embed code, that refers to the embedded version. Generally speaking, functionality-wise, they're essentially the same. However, they will look a little bit different when you're actually implementing them. So now let's go ahead, go back to our editing section, and we'll navigate to form branding, like I mentioned before. Here's where we can update the colors, the logo, and anything else related to the look of our page. When we go to, should probably do it slower, 1 second. When we go to the linked and embedded options, just over here, the second option, this is where we can update the customer header logo. And when we're going further down on the page and see the embedded form options, that's where we can update the header image for the embedded version of the form. Right, so we have the embedded option over here and the linked option over here.
That's great. That's great. I stay right here. We actually just got another question related to the CDF.
Sure, a lot of questions about the donation forms. Everybody wants to use those. That's great.
Yeah, there's a lot of customizations for it, so of course there's going to be lots of questions.
For sure.
Charities want to get it exactly the way they want it to. So speaking of which, one question that just came in now was, how do we change the text at the top, description text at the top? So it's in the same section you were just at, where you can update the header, but there's some places where you can change the description text over there. I wanted to show them real quick.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so back to our linked and embedded options. What I'm looking at right now is going to change to the updated text. Again, you could update that both for the English and the French versions of your donation forms if you need to. As you can see, all of the fields that we have are doubled in both English and in French.
Nice. That's pretty straightforward. Make changes on the fly. If there's updates to the campaigns, this is a great spot to put that kind of information. One thing that I've seen some charities do is if they paired it with the fundraising thermometer, if they're near or they've reached their goal, they might update the description text to celebrate those milestones and try to encourage further gifts. So this is a great modular way of updating your donors.
Absolutely. All right.
All right.
Any more donation forms questions there in the chat?
trying to look over here, scrolling through these questions, make sure we don't leave the CDF before we answer all the questions. Right. This is a good question related to the consent checkbox that we just covered. So
Sure.
let's say a donation went through, donor made a donation, they checked off the consent message. Where can I see that? How can I see that a donor has consented to receiving emails from our organization?
Absolutely. So when I was talking about the CanadaHelps data, I mentioned that we store all of the data related to your charity in your donation reports. So when you're pulling, let me just click this again. Okay. Oh, I'm not sure what's happening. Again, I'm on the test instance of our account, so you may be seeing some weird things over here. I do apologize for this. Regardless, the information about the explicit consent or the donor agreeing to be on your mailing list will be saved in your donation reports under data download. Whether you're using the data download or the custom data download, one of the columns included in that report will be called email opt-in. That's where you can see I believe the value, once you download the spreadsheet, the value is going to be true or false to distinguish between those donors that signed up for your mailing list or did not. My best recommendation would be to go into data downloads, download the report for any given period of time, and check the email opt-in option, the email opt-in column for any donors that signed up for your newsletters.
Nice. That's a simple enough solution. Great. I think that covers all the customizable donation form questions.
Okay, perfect.
I kind of take that back, actually. We got this. This is somewhat related here. This is a great way to, I think this is a great question on how to further engage donors and build those relationships, especially when you start to consider your top donors. So one great aspect about our customizable donation forms are the automated thank yous, right? You can personalize that however you like through the CDF editor that I just showed. However, going back to the thank you tool that you showed earlier, can charities also send even more personalized messages to individual donors who donated through the customizable donation form? So essentially, if a donor donates through the customizable donation form, can they get both automated thank you through the donation form, as well as can the charity send an even further personalized thank you through the thank you tool that's in the donation reports tab?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we're talking about the two options to say thank you through your CanadaHelps charity accounts. The automated thank you message that you set up through your donation form is kind of a no-brainer. It should be there by default, and every donor should receive an instant thank you message with the confirmation of their gift, of their donation. Now, on top of that, you can definitely use, and in fact, I encourage you to use the thank you option that I was showing you earlier, where you can send a personalized thank you message directly to the donor and customize it in any way that you'd like. So there is definitely no hurt in thanking the donor twice. In fact, a lot of the charities that I donate to, I almost always receive the automated thank you message immediately after I do it, and then someone from the team reaches out to me. That's when I know, okay, somebody actually saw my donation. That's awesome. Somebody reached out and put in the time to communicate with me directly. So donors definitely appreciate the extra step you take to thank them personally. And yeah, so do both. Please do both.
Awesome. Yes, that's a simple, easy way to further nurture those relationships for sure. Nice. Okay, right now the time is 2:01. We're a little bit over, so thank you for staying with us. For any questions that we couldn't get in the chat, try to email you individually to get you those answers. Thank you again for joining us this Thursday afternoon. Thank you, Dennis, for this wonderful presentation. Lots of great information about our fundraising tools. Yeah. Anything you'd like to say before we head off here?
Thank you so much, Nombro, for helping me facilitate this. Thank you, everybody who's attended. I'm sorry I couldn't see any of you. I'm sure there's some charities on here that I may have spoken with before, so hi. And stay tuned for the slide deck and the recording of this webinar if you'd like to refresh your memory. Good luck this year with your online fundraising, and I'm sure we'll talk again. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye.